When it comes to squat, bench, and deadlift, I was built to bench press. One of my worst was the deadlift. I struggled tremendously. Short arms, long torso. It just made it hard to bend down to the bar and perform. But the harder I had to work at it, the more I enjoyed it and loved it. And the deadlift is now my favorite lift, and it is for many reasons. But today I want to talk about the best and most effective progression to help you get to where you want to get to. Now, for most lifters, I would promote linear periodization, which means you gradually increase intensity as you decrease volume. So that means low intensity, more reps. All right. So more reps, less intensity. But then as the intensity increases, the volume decreases. And with that linear periodization, you're just progressively overloading your body. It's the simplest way to improve your lift, regardless deadlift or not, and to learn how to overload your anatomy to make you more successful. But besides linear periodization, I want to talk about the progression of variations and what you should choose to become a better deadlifter today. So let's say you are years in your powerlifting career and you're trying to figure out, how do I elevate my deadlift? I'm going to plateau. A lot of times people aren't training their single rep strength. And here's where I'm going with this. When you do the squat and the bench, it's a two-phased movement. You go down and up. The muscle stretches and shortens. But with the deadlift, it never stretches. It just goes from resting to shortening. So how do you get that response in the body? Not that this is my first part of the progression, but one thing you need to think about when you deadlift is when you prescribe the volume, it's going to look a lot different than you would for a squat or a bench. So maybe if you're squatting 3 sets of 6, maybe for deadlift, you flip it. It's 6 sets of 3. It's still 18 reps, 6 times 3 or 3 times 6. It's 18. It's still 18 reps, but the way you displace the reps, and now you're getting a lot of first rep opportunities in 6 sets versus 3. Now you're getting a little bit more of a better approach with your deadlift and how to learn from going from resting to contracting. But let's get back to variations. So if you're a conventional lifter, I think the first thing you need to do is trap bar deadlift. I'd say for the first 4 to 6 weeks, trap bar deadlift, learn how to build your posture, better leg drive, better mechanics. And I really think it's going to have a good impression on your straight bar deadlift. I do this with all my clients. I've never had an issue with people going from trap bar to straight bar. It's weird at first, but they do a great job. Now, if you're a sumo lifter, I'd say the first variation you should do is floating reps. So that means you're never going to touch the floor. You'll get close. You'll keep tension in your body and your glutes. You'll stand up. You'll come back down. You'll stand up. You never touch the floor, and you try to squat with the bar. These floating reps are teaching you how to drop your hips and how to wedge yourself and put yourself into position to be more successful based on posture and all the other mechanics of the lift. And it increases tap and retention, which is a great mechanism for growth and development. So right now, with my deadlift progression, I'm telling conventional lifters to trap bar. And then the next part of the progression, obviously, you go back to normal deadlifts, whether it's sumo or conventional. And I'd say work up to a top set of 5 and then start working your speed sets. So instead of 3 sets of 6, it's 6 sets of 3. So I would say you build up to a top set of 5. And then for your speed sets, whether it's 5, 6, 8, or 10 sets, use 70% of that top set for your speed work. So now you're talking about working to going from resting to contracting as fast as possible. That's the next part of the progression. Now, once you've built up to that set of 5, the next week, what I would suggest is doing ascending sets. So starting off with your 70% from the previous week, and then adding more weight each set until you build up to a top set. Okay. Now, this would work great if you did 6 or 8 or 10 sets of 3, preferably 6 sets of 3. It's just an easier starting point. You build up to a top triple, and then that third week, you try to beat that top triple with a lot more rest. So you don't really worry about doing all the speed sets. You just build up to a top triple and try to beat that number. What we're doing right now is trying to wave the intensity. Week 1, top set of 5, and then you do speed sets, work your way out to a top set of 3, and then the last week you try to beat it. I know it sounds a little confusing, but in the caption below, I'll outline this information for you so you understand a little bit better. And then from there, you want to work on training singles. Now, a lot of people, when they train their singles, they want to pick a variation lift that helps them expose a weak point. And again, I'll outline this below just so you understand. But I think working singles, working up to a top single, trying to beat your previous PR, in addition to isometrics and speed sets, is a great tool to help you get into position to be more successful. So just to summarize what we talked about, the best deadlift progression is to making sure you gradually increase intensity while decreasing the volume, but your volume cannot be tons of consecutive reps. It needs to be more sets of less reps. You want to start off with the trap bar or floating reps as a conventional or sumo lifter to work on mechanics, and then eventually get yourself back to the straight bar, working more speed sets, trying to work on that first rep strength, and then eventually building yourself up on intensity into top singles, and then working yourself into crushing a PR. So like I said in the caption below, I'll outline these details, give you a little bit more examples of what we're talking about. And if you have questions, you have concerns, or want to leave a comment, you feel like you can below, we'll answer your questions, and we'll hopefully support you on your deadlifting journey. So again, my name is Joseph Lucero with Powerlifting Technique. Hopefully you guys leave a comment. We'll talk to you soon.